Everyone, welcome back to Susan Dawn's Spiritual Connections. There is so much that is coming in right now, so much energy that is being felt, so much information, guidance, insight, understanding that's being experienced, especially within my own experience. And it's a little bit overwhelming because I'm trying to organize how to present that to you guys. There's a lot of information that's coming through as far as channelings we're going to be doing over on my sister channel, Susan Dawn Ascension Connections. So do make sure that you are subscribed over there as well, especially with regards to higher level ascension, what's happening within the global collective, and how sacred partners, you can call them twin flames, divine counterparts, are playing a part. If you're connecting with me, my energy, and my journey, then you might be experiencing this within your own journey as well, where you are doing this with a partner. You're experiencing your ascension journey, your spiritual journey, maybe even your life journey in some respects, with a partner who has been a catalyst for your ascension, for your spiritual journey, your growth, your soul path. Now, if you don't have a physical partner, you might still be experiencing within yourself the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies within you. That is a path as well, but you're experiencing the sacred union path of ascension. Not everybody resonates with this journey, and that's why we try to make it as sacred as possible. Especially as new understanding and new information comes through, we try to make this a really safe and sacred space, because not everybody is going to be experiencing this. And we've understood this for the past year or so, as there's been kind of diverting paths and a lot of energy coming through within the greater collective, that makes it a little bit difficult to hold on to your truth and to trust in your inner knowing. But trusting in your inner knowing, trusting your own intuition is part of what you have come to experience, part of what you have come to learn. That is part of, especially if you're a divine feminine, that's part of your greatest lessons. It is trusting in your own intuition and remaining steadfast in your truth and in your experience. That does not mean that you don't evolve. That does not mean that your beliefs don't evolve and continue to grow. That's part of evolution. That's part of growth. But And your journey might expand and might take different paths as well and unfold in different ways than you might have expected. But it is part of your journey as the whole. So that being said, I want to do a couple of readings to kind of build on the foundation of what we're going to be channeling over on and sharing over on Susan Dawn Ascension Connections, which is a much deeper dive. And not everybody is going to resonate. If you don't resonate, just disregard it. But I, for myself, have learned to just keep walking my path and just keep expressing my truth. And, that's what I have to do. Just keep expressing what it is that I'm receiving through my own experience and my own journey, my own evolution. And everybody is welcome to have their own platforms and share their own experiences and their own truth. That's the beauty of this day and age, is that we are no longer going to be persecuted for expressing ourselves, for allowing ourselves to speak our truth. It's the old adage of, as long as you are doing harm to none, allow yourself to speak up, allow yourself to shine brightly, allow yourself to have a voice and share your voice. Okay, that being said, where do we begin? So there are many of us who are experiencing different paths that we might not have imagined even a couple months ago, even a couple of years ago, when we started our ascension journeys, especially with a partner. We might not have expected an experience of a new path that's opening up, the soulmate path. We're going to be doing a channeling, and I'm going to be sharing some of my own personal experiences, and we're going to be doing a channeling on that. Why are soulmates coming through? Why are new energies coming in? I've been channeling that and talking about that for a couple of months now, especially as I've been having my own experiences. Soulmates do not have to be romantic partners. They can be platonic. They can be romantic. They can be platonic. But soulmates are here to help us grow and continue to evolve in the highest energy of love. Soulmates are not the karmic connections. Karmic connections help us to experience those things as well, but karmic connections are more lessons. karma completed. And remember, karma is an energy. It's just an energy. Karmics, especially karmic connections in this community, get a really bad reputation. Karmics are there to help you see, grow, and evolve through experiences and through lessons that can often be challenging and difficult to push you. Soulmate connections are much more familiar. They are very fluid. When I say that, I mean much more easygoing, much more natural. And they feel very much like home. There's a lot of compatibility with soulmate connections. It just feels so like a breath of fresh air. It just feels so safe. Soulmate connections feels very secure. And then you have the twin flame, twin soul connections. Now, these are all labels. These labels help us to differentiate the energies of what we may be experiencing within certain dynamics. And I talk about this on Twin Flame Truths. We have the full channeling available on Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections, or we do have a playlist available for free here on Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections on my YouTube channel, depending on where you're seeing this. We do have a channeling here that goes into this a little bit as well. You can also look up Soul Connections on my website. I go into a little bit of that explanation. This is how it was presented to me. This is how I've come to understand the different connections and the different dynamics. Twin flame, twin soul, it's the same similar energy, but it's almost like karmic and soulmate wrapped up into one. It has that feeling of home, that familiarity, that compatibility, that unconditional love. It feels very much like a soulmate energy, but it's a higher octave and a higher frequency. It is you. It is your inner self being reflected back to you in another person. And it can feel sometimes like a karmic connection because there are so many lessons and so much growth. Your twin really challenges you to grow and to evolve. And that's where it doesn't always feel as peaceful as a soulmate connection. But we had channeled this as well. It's like the Vesica Pisces, two circles here. And the first phase of your journey, which can last for a long time, depending on your journey, and everybody has different experiences. This is the healing. This is you're clearing out old energy, you're clearing out karma, you're clearing out all that, what I like to call soul sludge. And you and your partner, you trigger that within each other. Then you have that little transition period where you're learning that self-love, that self-honoring. You're reaching that inner union, that inner balance. The energy is clearing. You're bringing in more light codes. You're having more expansion, more understanding. Your heart is opening. There's just a ton of healing. This is kind of like the other side of healing, the other side of that dark night of the soul, so to speak. And again, you can have many layers of dark nights, many layers of cycles, many layers of this phase of your journey. But then you reach this phase, and you'll know it when you feel it. You can look back at your own journey and experience that transformation and know how it feels. And then you have the next layer, which is what we call the higher heart ascension. And I'll put links to all of this in the description box that is of reference here. So the higher heart ascension is where it just brings in the harmony. It just brings in the peace. This is where I call it the twin flame. The twin flame is that intense energy of the healing. Right? You feel that intensity. You might even activate each other's attachment wounds, abandonment issues, the core wounds, the core healing that needs to take place. But as you clear that, that's when you ascend. And you ascend by doing the deep healing, by going deeper within yourself, by connecting more to yourself and becoming more of yourself. And so what happens in this higher level, this higher energy, this higher frequency, higher consciousness is what I call the twin soul. And that feels more like that soulmate energy. It feels, okay, more harmonious, more at ease. This is your union energy. And it's because you're in inner union, because you've reached that balance and that harmony and that ease. You've shifted beliefs, you've shifted mindsets, you've shifted patterns, maybe even shifted your life. You've shifted within yourself, and you can feel that transformation. You can feel that new energy. Again, if you take this point in time and you look back at where you were, you don't criticize yourself or judge yourself for where you were. You don't know what you don't know. You have compassion for that old version of yourself, but that is what growth is. That is what evolution is. You learn, and from that learning, you make different choices. You take different actions. You allow yourself to just become new, become more, become different. You're still you. You're just a different consciousness of you, a different understanding of who you are. And maybe you engage or you present yourself differently because you yourself at the core level are more yourself at the core level. You are in a higher energy where your wounds, your traumas, your patterns aren't dictating your actions or your mindsets anymore. You're embodying now. That's what this energy is. Now, when it comes to sacred partnerships, when it comes to the actual people who we're experiencing this journey with, the individuals that we're experiencing this human life with, you have that catalyst partner, that catalyst counterpart that we call twin flame, for lack of a better word. If you don't if you don't like the labels, you don't have to use the labels. Again, it's just a way to differentiate between the energies of what you're experiencing within these various dynamics. So you have this counterpart connection where you catalyze each other, and there's a lot of love here. So this is not just, healing and growth and pain and suffering. There's a lot of growth and a lot of love and a lot of forgiveness and a lot of compassion. And it's learning through all of those cycles. It's learning through all of those things. Again, and then you carry that forward into the next cycle, into the next phase of your journey and even of your life, if you want to call it that. And so your counterpart that you were doing this journey with, that was catalyzing you, can be that same person, can be that what we're calling the twin soul now. Or if that person is not choosing, not, how do I say this? Maybe they're not growing with you. Maybe they are on their own path. Maybe they are needing to experience something else in their life. That person is then going to be somebody different. You might bring in somebody else who is a counterpart, still a counterpart for you. They are matched on the same frequency, matched in the same energy, the same vibration, but it's going to feel, again, that harmony. This could be somebody that's transforming along with you to become more in harmony with you so that you can experience that union together. Or this could be another person that's coming in. Twin flame is an energy, and that's really important to understand. Twin flame is an energy. I do want to give a shout out to two people who have really helped me along the past week to solidify energy that I was receiving, especially when it comes to all of this energy, soulmates, that I've been experiencing for the past year, as well as reminding me of the journey that I've been on, that I've been channeling, that I am on. One is a member of this community who shared a comment that really reached into my heart and made me remember what my experience has been with the person who was the catalyst counterpart for me, and who I will still call twin flame, regardless of what my future leads to. I don't know where my future is leading. I'm having some soulmate interactions that have been really healthy and really beautiful, but my heart is still, I still feel that connection with my twin flame. Doesn't mean that we're going to continue in this life together. I still don't know how that's going to unfold. That is my surrender. But in my heart, there's still a part of me that feels very much connected to, and will always feel connected to, that person who was a catalyst for me. But again, when you have two different people, you have to accept and respect where each other are in each journey. And, you can't force anything or control anything. You can just continue to allow your journey to unfold on your highest path, and keep in your peace, following your peace, follow your joy, follow where your heart is guiding you. So I want to mention that as well. I also want to mention a YouTuber, Amanda Ellis. Many of you probably know her. She has a pretty big platform. Since almost the beginning of my journey, I've been in alignment with her. And what's beautiful is her having a bigger platform has helped me to validate my own channelings, because I would channel something, and then a couple of days or even weeks later, she would come out with a video that would validate that channeling. So that was really helpful for me along my journey. And she has been in a sort of mentor for me with regards to my own growth and my own evolution, my own understanding of things. I don't watch every video of hers, only the ones that I'm called to. I actually don't watch much of any videos at the moment, just because I don't have time and I'm more into reading right now. But This one I was called to. It was a twin flame channeling where she was talking about different paths emerging for these twin flames, and how no matter what path you're on, you'll come back together. The purpose is for these twin flames to come back together, but it might not be along the linear timeline that you expect. It might not be according to what you think it will. And she was giving the example of Charles and Camilla being twin flames, and you can go watch the video and you can go, have your opinions on that with her video. I'm not having any judgment or any conversation about that, or any opinion about, I have no opinion about that. It was just a nice example of Charles and Camilla being twin flames, and how it has taken over 50 years for them to come back together, and how there were soulmate energies in the mix of that. Now, what I experienced from that was a deeper understanding of what I was experiencing within myself. Now, you don't have to go along that path. Everybody has a different path up the mountain, and especially if you're doing your inner healing work and you're doing your growth work, then it's going to speed up your timelines because you're shifting within yourself. And if you're aware of those patterns and behaviors and those traumas, and you're doing that healing work and you're doing that remembering work and you're shifting your energy into higher frequency, then obviously it's going to speed up the timeline, and obviously it's going to shift everything. You have the power to create your future. You have the power to decide what it is that you want to experience in your human life. So just because this has happened for this one, example, and this is just an example and an anecdote, doesn't mean that's what it's going to be for you. So don't let that trigger you, especially if you have a wound around time. That being said, after I watched that video, it put everything into place, and I was already beginning to understand what I was experiencing, again, through my own soulmate connections, but I was not quite certain how to present it and how to explain it all. And so I had channeled, and I'm just getting out my phone. Okay, so this is what I had channeled. Ever since the beginning of my journey with my counterpart, I experienced something called, what I like to call, the time wound. And I had talked about that a little bit before, I think even in a recent channeling. The time wound. Why couldn't we be together? Why couldn't we have met prior to this? Why are we just meeting now? I don't understand. I remember seeing a picture of my counterpart in high school, and we've known each other since elementary school. I remember seeing a picture of him in high school, and I just burst into tears because I said, why couldn't I have known you then? Why couldn't I have known you then? Why couldn't we have experienced all this time? Why now? Why at this phase of our life when we could have, experienced so much together? But then I began to understand that I wouldn't have experienced what I needed to experience, learned what I needed to learn, become who I needed to become. And I don't want to speak for him, but maybe he wouldn't have either. Everything happens in divine timing, and he came into my life at the perfect time. When I go back to elementary school, we were just kids. And I was the one who didn't recognize the connection. I mean, we were 10 years old, so as how much, the connection was recognized, I don't know. We were 10 years old, and I give a lot of credit to children and their intuition, but I can recognize too that I experienced so much that I had shut a lot of myself down, even at that young age. And so I just was not having it. I just was not. I ran away. I, in essence, was the runner. It wasn't time. I wasn't ready. Maybe that was the divine plan. I don't know. But I take ownership of that. And I had to work through a lot of grief and a lot of forgiveness with myself, with his energy around that moment in time. And then throughout high school, throughout middle school, throughout the rest of elementary school, it was almost like there was a block there for me. I'm sure we passed in the hallways. I had dreams of him in the many, many years afterwards. So many dreams of him, but I do not remember seeing him. There was a block there for me. And he remembered seeing me, but I didn't remember seeing him. And then in 2012, we got in touch via Facebook and just started catching up. 2016, we met for coffee, and I could feel the vibrations, the frequency. Something felt off. I could feel, it was like my whole body was like shaking, like vibrating. And it felt like, okay, something just feels like it's a little bit askew. And it's almost like it wasn't time. 2016 is when I was experiencing a relapse in illness. That whole year, and 2017 was very difficult for me. My grandmother had had a stroke. We were selling her house. I was, trying to be a support for my parents while also dealing with my own illness. I was launching a nonprofit. It was a very challenging time for me personally. But I was also learning a lot about self-love and learning to love myself again. And you guys might have heard this story before. I went on a trip to New York. It was my first solo trip since I had been sick. My first real travel, except for like doctor's visits since I had been sick. Since 2012 is when I was sick. And so that was huge for me. And it was one of the first times I was wearing jeans. And I felt confident. I felt good. I was loving myself. I felt this sense of liberation. I felt this sense of freedom. I felt myself coming alive again. And then a month later, he and I met for coffee again. And I turned around, we looked in each other's eyes, and everything was activated. I didn't know the word activated. I didn't know what was happening. But I could tell that something was different. And I kept singing prior to that. It was like a month or two prior, I kept singing The Little Mermaid. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know something's starting right now. That's what I was singing. And when I saw him, when we turned around, when we started talking, it was like a sacred bubble descended around us. And it felt like home. It felt familiar. It felt like so much love. It felt like I was seeing lifetimes in front of me, and no time had passed at all. No time, no space existed. And I've met many, many soulmates. I have many, many soulmates in my life. I've never experienced anything like that. And it launched me on an ascension journey. We had maybe a couple of weeks of honeymoon phase, and then triggers galore, triggers everywhere. Didn't understand this journey then as I do now. And I have some regret around that because I wish I did. And I've had to work through, especially the past couple of months, a lot of self-forgiveness and self-compassion around not judging myself for what I didn't know. Because I just kept trying to follow my heart and keep my heart open. And in many ways, I was pushing for the connection because I was feeling it, and I could feel the love that was coming from him as well. And I just didn't understand what this journey, the full capacity, the full force of this journey was about. And so I've had to take responsibility for my part and put that responsibility on him where it's due, because two people play a part here. I don't take full accountability and full responsibility for the whole of our connection, the whole of our relationship, but I do take accountability and responsibility for my part, and that's where I've had to forgive myself and work with myself around not judging myself for what I didn't know back then. And the only thing that I could do was learn and grow and shift within myself and apply that wherever I could, and wherever that was accepted within my connection with him. And unfortunately, our connection broke down and we weren't able to repair. I've always wanted to repair that in a better energy and a better love, but unfortunately there was a lot of pain that was experienced on both ends, and we were not able to come back from that, and that's where separation was created. However, this is what I channeled just recently from this understanding, and part of soul connections coming in have helped me to further understand myself and grow within myself, providing a really safe and secure environment with which I can do so, with which I can apply everything that I've learned now, and how I've grown and how I've evolved and become, a higher energy of myself, a higher version of myself. And so that's where a lot of soulmate connections are coming in to help you to not only grow and learn in a higher energy of love, not so much in the triggers, because sometimes when you're twins, the energy is so intense and the mirror is so thick that it becomes like a ping pong ball going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and you're not able to heal together. And that's where separation can be very valuable, because you're meant to be healing, you're meant to be growing, but sometimes if you're kind of caught in a cycle, you have to step out of that cycle in order to heal. And that's exactly what happened with us. We were living together. There was a lot of stress within the environment, within circumstances, and we were not able to grow and heal together within that connection. But energetically, I feel, and I'm speaking from my experience, I will not speak for him, but I'm speaking from my experience. For my end, there's always been connection there. There's always been love there. And I have always, no matter where we are or what's being experienced, I've always ever wanted the best for him to be happy, for him to be in health. And again, I can take responsibility for where I've misstepped, where I abandoned myself because I wanted to keep him safe or protect him or be there for him. Not allowing him his journey, but that's part of my journey that I learned too, is to allow him his journey as well. So what I channeled, so soulmate connections coming in, and many of you have shared with me that you're experiencing soulmate connections as well. And so that's amazing. That's beautiful, because there's a lot of learning, again, a lot of growth that can happen. And you might still feel connected to your counterpart. And don't deny that. You don't have to avoid that. You don't have to repress that. That's part of you. You can allow for that and still open up to other connections and still, experience other connections. It is, especially if you're not in a committed relationship, because the physical experience is important too. You're having a physical experience too. So if you're not in a committed relationship, if you're not if you're in separation with this person, if there's no communication, then you don't have a relationship. There's no relationship. You can have a connection, an energetic connection, but you also you're a human, so you also have a physical relationship. That physical relationship is an important component as well. And so that's where you don't hold yourself back. That's where you still have to allow for your human experience and your human journey to continue. And you don't put yourself in a waiting room waiting for somebody to communicate or waiting for somebody to offer that commitment to you. I think that's where you have to find health within yourself. And trust me, like, we've all been there. So there's no judgment there as well. But if you're not in communication with this person, especially for many, many, many months, many years, there's no relationship there. Relationship is about two people relating to each other, coming together in a committed connection, both on the same page, both communicating to each other what your intentions are, what your desires, and working together for that growth and for that union. And if that's not happening, then there is no committed relationship. There is no relationship. And that's where it can kind of fall apart. And again, you can have that energetic connection and that energetic component, but you are also a human having a human experience. And you are meant to be having a human experience. Your spiritual path is not to bypass your human experience, but to understand the spiritual component within your human experience, your spiritual self, your nature, your connection to God source, and all within your human experience, but you don't bypass one or the other. And you don't go to the other extreme by just saying, oh, I'm just a spiritual being, I'm not having a human experience. No, you're having a human experience. That's where you're the bridge. You yourself are the bridge between your human experience and your spiritual self. So, okay, getting back to this channeling. What I had said was your twin flame at your highest level want you to succeed and grow. Your twin is you. Your twin is mirror to you. And that's where I think I began to say this. That's where I want to give a shout out to a member of our community for just reminding me of this. Because I myself, over the past several months, have just been releasing and forgiving, but also feeling a lot of pain that was experienced within my connection. And so I could very humbly admit where I was pushing away my connection as well. And I've shared that with you guys, where I said, oh, I'm in ego right now. I can't believe this. Even as I was channeling beautiful messages of growth and evolution, my ego was like, there's no way this is happening. I can't believe this, because, this is what the physical 3D is experiences. This is what I'm being shown. But we've always channeled to trust within your heart. Yes, you have to have that balance of what's being presented to you and what you're feeling energetically. For so long, I was just going off of what I was feeling energetically, that I did not accept what was being shown to me in the physical. Actions have to match the energy. Your physical experience has to match energetically, but you allow for that to unfold. You allow for that. You allow for the energetic alignment of that. Well, let's just keep going. So you have a mission here on Earth, and no matter what, you are supporting each other in that mission. Again, you're each other's mirror. You're each other's self, just in two physical bodies. And yes, as two physical bodies, you have different experiences, but you are still the same on a higher level, the same energetically, the same soul energetically. That is what the twin flame is, and that's why it can feel so intense and so much like home. And that's why it feels very different from a soulmate connection. It's because you are each other at the very visceral level. And so yes, you're having different experiences. You're not having the same experience. You're two parts of the same whole. You are that union of opposites, and two parts of the same whole means that you might approach it differently. You're cultivating one garden. That one garden is your oversoul. But your person might be working on this corner of the garden, and you might be working on this corner of the garden. If you were both working on one corner of the garden, then the rest of it would be neglected. So that's where you have your experiences. And going back to that time wound, that's where I had experienced a lot of regret, but that from the very beginning, even though I had to work through that wound, I could see that we weren't meant to come together until this point. I had so many experiences that I needed to have for my own growth and my own healing. When traveling was a positive one for me. When I went to France on my own, that was a huge beginning of my spiritual awakening in 2008. I had been going through spiritual awakenings, and I was always a spiritual person, but that was really eye-opening for me. And who am I? And where do I belong in this great big universe? And all that. That was huge for me. And then my experience with Lyme disease illness was kind of the worst of that, but that also was eye-opening for me. That also was a catalyst for me, for another layer of spiritual awakening, to help me learn how to express myself, to stand up for myself, to advocate for myself, and most importantly, to begin to trust in my intuition on a new level. Because I was being told that I was fine when my heart was failing, my body was shutting down, my mind was decaying, I was quite literally dying. And I had to advocate for myself and trust my intuition that no, there's something wrong here, and find my own doctors to help me save my own life. And I had to go through those experiences as part of my journey. And I'm sure that he went through experiences for himself as part of his journey, including having a beautiful baby girl. That's this energy. This message is allow for your paths, trust in your paths, and trust in the divine timing. You came together when it was perfect for both of you. Your souls aligned at the perfect time. And you can have those regrets, and you can have those I wish. But it was all the perfect time, and your souls orchestrated that. Your souls organized that. But you were always energetically supporting you. You're just remembering now. You're remembering now that you were never separate. Even through all those individual experiences that you were having, you were never separate. And that's where, even though it might look different on the surface, on the 3D, you have had parallel experiences and parallel lives. He was having a beautiful child, and I was giving birth to businesses and to books and to other things that would impact the world, as he was having a child that's going to have a beautiful impact on the world. As I was going through my struggles, he was going through his struggles. And again, it looks different on the surface. as far as what the actual experience is. But the energy underneath is the same lesson. It's the same lesson. It's the same experience, just from different circumstances and different experiences. So you have a mission here on Earth, and no matter what, you are supporting each other in that mission, regardless of what the 3D circumstances look like. When you're together, if you've experienced parts of your life together, you challenge each other to expand, grow, and heal. My divine counterpart helped me to expand exponentially, particularly in understanding the powers of the mind. Together, the experiences were for us, individually, for our own soul's growth and evolution, and also for the world. Because I can look at how many people I was able to support and help through my advocacy work with Lyme disease. That's part of my individual mission. And he's been through his individual mission as well. We're still serving our missions. It just looks like separation. We're still in connection with each other and for each other. It just looks like separation. It just looks like pain. It just looks like all this other stuff because of what we've experienced. But when we overcome all of that, we come back to that one truth, and that one truth is love. That one truth is love. This is not the soulmate reading. This is not the soulmate reading. I did not expect to go as deep into that as I did. And this is a reading about being ready for love. On Sunday, I was coming home from work, and as usual, as I started my car, there was a song on my playlist of hundreds and hundreds of songs started to play. And I've been paying more attention to music lately, especially as I'm realizing I'm not pushing it away as much. Before I was like, nope, don't want it, don't want to hear it. I've had it. And that's fair. You know, you don't judge how you're feeling. I had to go through that experience. I had to go through those feelings as well. But I've started paying attention more to the synchronicities. I'm not denying them. I'm not avoiding them. I'm not pushing them away as much. I'm still working through stuff, but as much. And so there was a song by Kelly Sweet that came on called Ready for Love. And so I came home and I sat down to do the collective messages. I record first for TikTok and then I cross-post everywhere else. And the New Love card came out. And so I was channeling a message for that, around that energy. New love could be an old love that's coming back around again. Take it as it resonates for you. But I'll put a link to that reading again in the description box. But Ready for Love just kept playing in my mind, playing in my mind, playing in my mind. So it was interesting because, no, that's not what happened. I'm trying to think. No, it wasn't Sunday. So Sunday I came home. I'm sorry. This whole time is weird. Today feels like Saturday. It's the weirdest thing. So I came home from work. I did the recording. Then I went for a drive on Monday. That's what it was. I went for a drive on Monday because I was going to film some content for Lyme Disease Awareness Month. Went for a drive, and when I got in the car, that's what it was. I got in the car, and Kelly Sweet's Ready for Love started playing. So that's what the synchronicity was for me. That's what the synchronicity was. So I pulled the card New Love on Sunday, and then the very next day was Kelly Sweet's song Ready for Love. So I'm like, okay, so there's something here. Like, I was feeling it. The lyrics, I'll pull them up really quick. It's something along the lines of, I'm ready to believe. And again, I'm still working through stuff. So my sarcastic ass is like, nope, don't want it. I'm not ready for it. Like, push it away, push it away, push it away. But that's just my guarded heart right now. And I'm learning to open up again. I'm learning to trust, and I'm learning to, just allow that love to flow again. When love calls your name and whispers you're the one, when all you've ever dreamed dances like stars around your heart, and finally I hold the chance to give you all my love, so what's keeping me away from holding you? I'm ready to believe, be strong enough, give everything I am, and trust in love. So again, it's a beautiful song. It's very tender. It's very soft. But again, I wanted to push it away, but I allowed myself to feel it. And again, my heart just opened up. And, my heart, if you guys have paid attention to a couple of the other readings, or I should say, if you've watched the other readings, that's what's been happening. It's just my heart has been opening and opening and opening. And there's a part of me that is afraid, and part of me that has been so hurt from these past experiences that I want to keep shut down, but I also don't want to. And so, especially when it comes to my connection. So I am at a place where I'm just allowing myself to love and allowing myself just to feel the connection, and just, I don't know where that's leading in the physical. I don't know where I want that to lead in the physical, if I want it to lead anywhere in the physical, if it's going to lead anywhere in the physical, but I'm just learning how to be open to the connection again and just love the connection as I'm just continuing to walk my path and see where my life is leading me. That said, ready for love. I want to do a reading around this. Again, this could be a soulmate connection that you're opening up to. I've been experiencing that as well. And I'll talk about that in the soulmate reading. I'm going to share my story on the Patreon, I think. But we'll have some more of soulmate energy here on the channel if you're on Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections on YouTube. But I do want to share a little bit about my experiences. It's not romantic, it's more platonic, but this individual is really helping me understand love in a higher level, and understand myself, and be open to receiving love in a different way. And I feel extremely grateful for that, because there's a lot of healing that's taking place, and soulmate connections have a place, have a way in which they're helping you to heal if you allow for it. So let's see, ready for love. This could be your counterpart, this could be somebody else, but most importantly, this is about you. Whether you are the divine masculine or the divine feminine in this scenario, this is about you. So take these messages about ready for love as it resonates for you. So what is this? What is this healing? What is this growth? What is this love? Five of Cups, that's that regret. The Five of Cups is an interesting energy, and I had channeled this message for a client earlier, where it's like you're not seeing the forest for the trees. So caught up in regret, so caught up in victimhood, so caught up in lack, so caught up in the empty cups that you're not seeing the two cups that are there. That might have been an experience that you had in the past, where maybe you or somebody else were not able to see what it was that you had. Not able to appreciate what it is that you had. Maybe this was both of you, not able to fully appreciate what it is that you had. It's almost like there was a wall between you two, where you couldn't cross that threshold towards each other because your own experiences, your own trauma, your own pain, your own triggers was preventing you. And it has nothing to do, especially if you're in a twin flame connection, it's not to do with the other person. You just project that onto the other person, because the other person is that mirror for you to show you where the healing is. And the healing is just where there's more love to be needed, where to show you where to love yourself more, or where you need to receive more love from other people. You're not meant... We're very relational creatures. We're not meant to live this life on our own. So many of us, through our upbringing, through our experiences, through our wounding or beliefs or conditioning or society, we are forced into roles where we feel like we have to take care of ourselves, and it's very difficult for us to accept or receive help from others, especially when it comes to receiving support, especially when it comes to receiving love. But we're not meant to do this alone. We're not meant to be alone. We're meant to support each other and to help each other to grow and to lift each other up and to empower each other to be the best versions of ourselves. It's when our old patterns gets in the way that we become defensive. We become in survival mode. That mechanism kicks in. And that defense mechanism can look like pushing people away. It can look like lashing out to people who don't deserve it. It can look like projecting onto another person. And that's where you create this cycle, this karma, this cycle, this negative cycle can set in. But you have to break the cycle within yourself and break the cycle for the connection to recognize that you and your partner are meant to be for each other, that there is love there. But that takes two people working the connection. One person can't hold up the connection by themselves. Again, that's where the foundation, if it's not built on a steady foundation of both people playing a part, then there's no relationship. It's just an energetic connection. There's no physical relationship there. And so that's what this feels like. This feels like there might be a lot of regret that is being worked through. But at some point, you have to step out of this regret, lift your head, and make that change, or take action, or step out of that lower density, that even that victimhood. That could be like a woe is me energy, this regret and this remorse, and you have to take that learning and shift the pattern. There's one thing to be aware. It's a huge component. Your awareness is huge in healing. But then you also have to take action and make a different choice, or make a different action, or some kind of action. Follow that up with some kind of different choice or some kind of different action. That's where the healing really takes place, by your embodiment. Your embodiment. And your embodiment is the choices and the actions that you take. So let's get some more here. What's this new love here? At some point, you have to allow yourself to go towards love or let love in. The Magician, recognizing your power. Power isn't power over somebody. You don't control somebody. That's not power. That's illusion. Power comes from self-empowerment. You're in control of yourself, your responses, your mindset, your heart. That's where your self-empowerment comes into play. That's where you're powerful. And every person, everybody has a capability for their own self-empowerment. And when you recognize this, you recognize that power to create. I'm just getting called to the caduceus there. And that caduceus is, I'm just getting Archangel Raphael energy, extremely healing energy. You have the ability and the power here to create healing for yourself and healing in connections. And I do feel like this new love is something that you've been manifesting, something that you've been planting the seeds for, to help you heal into another timeline, to help you heal into another version of yourself, to help you heal beyond the past. I was sharing with a soul sister that I really feel the shift with this eclipse energy. Not this coming eclipse, although I feel like this coming eclipse is really going to solidify this, but the past eclipse that we just had really feels like it shut the door on the past. It shut the door on that past energy, on that past cycle, in order to open up to the new. And it's like there's no going back. I don't even want to look back. I mean, of course, there are, you don't sweep anything under the rug. You can always talk about your past. You can always, have memories and share memories and have conversations. But you're not stuck in that energy anymore. You're in a different energy. It's like when I speak about Lyme disease now. Before, when I would give speeches, it would be very emotional for me because I was still in that energy. I was still going through that healing process. And now that I've gone through that healing process, I'm able to speak and share my story and my experiences from a different energy. I don't feel like I'm trapped in that energy. I don't feel like I'm trapped in that experience anymore. That's what I mean by that door is closed. You're in a different energy. You can still go back to the past and experience or talk about those experiences. And in some ways, that's healing. In some ways, especially if you have a past history with somebody, or even if this is somebody new that's coming in, to share those experiences, that's how you grow that intimacy. It's this quote of not using your past to condemn somebody, but to understand what they've been through what it took for them to become who they are now. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. That's how you connect deeply with somebody. It's you becoming vulnerable and intimate and saying, this is what I experienced. This is what it took to be who I am. This is what made me who I am. This is what I went through. This is what I've learned. This is how I've grown. This is how I've evolved. And somebody who is in a really loving energy is going to create a safe space for that so that you can feel secure to share. Because they want They want to know you, not from a place to attack you or to condemn you, but because they want to know, how can I love you more? How can I support you in a way that feels good to you? It's going to be emotional because that's what I always ever wanted with my counterpart, but I always felt very, very blocked. I feel like whatever this connection is, whether this is a former counterpart or whether this is somebody new that's coming in, this is something that you're manifesting. It's a healing energy that's manifesting. This is safety and security with which you can fully be yourself, including honoring that past version of yourself. Even if it's a past version of yourself you don't like very much, you still honor it because that led you to where you are today. You don't condemn your past. You don't know what you don't know. As long as you are taking that learning and that experience into this present moment and making the change in this present moment to create a better future and a better outcome for yourself and a better experience and a better version of yourself, that's what matters. Seven of Cups. Yeah, there's something that's being created here. There's something that's being created here. There's something, it's like there's new opportunities that are coming through. This energy is just giving the energy of opportunities. It's very much in the mind space. I don't want to use the word fantasy, but I don't know other word. It's like, what are you dreaming about? What are you fantasizing? It's like you're planting the seeds. It's like you're creating something. It's like, what is it that you want to experience now? And it's very, very much, I wasn't going to talk about soulmates here, but maybe this is the soulmate reading. this will just be the reading. What the hell? This will just be the reading. Okay, so in the past couple of months, I have met some new people in my life who have really shown me the contrast of where I was and the energy that I was in and the energy I'd shifted into. And as I've shifted into new energy, what I'm attracting into my life is of course being different. Back in the fall time, I was on a trip and I met somebody. It was a very, it felt very at ease. And it was a karmic connection. I can see that now. But it felt very peaceful. It felt very at ease. I felt very comfortable with him. And it was just a friendship. But it was nice because we were very compatible. And we got along very well. And he put in the effort, to say, let's come see me, let's hang out, let's do this, let's do that, like putting in the effort. And that really struck with me because I wanted that. I wanted somebody. I didn't want to feel like I was chasing after anything anymore. And so that really struck with me. And there was absolutely nothing, romantic about that for me. It was purely platonic, but it was nice to have that connection. It was nice to see that contrast. And I very quickly saw that this, within hours, that this is what this connection was showing me. That it was showing me what it is that I want in connections, what I want in conscious relationships, what I want in when I'm meeting people and forming friendships. Then my naturopath introduced me to my personal trainer / physical therapist, and she is exactly who I need to help me along my health and wellness journey at this stage in my life. She is energetically inclined, by which I mean she's very intuitive, and we just hit it right off the bat. Very much soulmate friendship energy. And then just in the past couple of weeks, I met somebody else just by happenstance, and it almost felt like an instant connection and just a complete compatibility, very much a soulmate connection, but there was interest there. And even though it's not going any further for various reasons, I really appreciate what it is that he's showing me and continues to show me, and how I'm growing and how I'm learning with him, and learning how to feel safe and secure in connection, and how to really just open up again. So those are brief experiences that I've had, but just examples for myself, you guys have been sharing with me through emails and comments how you're experiencing your own soulmate connections. And for many of you, it's romantic, and for many of you, it is more friendship and platonic based. And even if you know that it might not be your person, you know that you're having these experiences, and you know that you're following this path because you're meant to come together, and not just for your growth, but when you come together with anybody, there's an energy exchange. So for the people that I've met, they're receiving as well. They're growing with me just as I'm growing and learning from them as well. And it's a beautiful energy exchange that's happening. And there's a lot of harmony. There's a lot of peace around it, especially if you've experienced a really tumultuous journey in the past in relationships. There's a lot of healing energy that's around this. So soulmate paths are opening up, and it might be that this is romantic connection and it's lifelong partnership. Again, that's a choice for you. And that's a very valid choice for you, especially if other connections aren't available. So don't deny that. Those are beautiful, high-level, high-vibrational connections that are there to support you in this lifetime. It doesn't mean that your other connection doesn't exist, but the other connection can be energetic. It doesn't mean that you'll never have that connection again, but maybe it is, maybe it's just not part of your journey at this present moment. So that's where you continue to release, and that's where you continue to open up, and that's where you have to have that level of trust, acceptance, and surrender, and just allow your journey to unfold, because there's magic along the journey. And we've been saying that there's magic along the journey. You have to allow for the magic along the journey and see the magic in the journey. It's not about the destination. Union is not the destination. Union is the journey itself, and you're experiencing union at every step of the way, at every juncture. Because that union is within yourself. And as you keep honoring that union within yourself, and maybe you are learning about union within yourself through these other connections, that's when you come into connection with your counterpart. Now, that is not to say that you are experiencing these soulmate connections just for the sake of the counterpart to come back. No, absolutely not. You're just doing it for your path. You're releasing the counterpart connection to the point where you're saying, I love you, and I honor you, and I respect you, and I feel you energetically, and I know that there's no separation between us. And I know that you're on your journey just as much as I know that I'm on my journey. And that at the highest level, we're doing this together. Even if we might not be able to consciously understand all the pieces of the puzzle, even if we might not be able to consciously understand how everything's going to play out, that's where you have that trust in the higher self, in the universe, in the oversoul, in God. That's where you have the trust in the divine order of things. And that you know that you're on your journey, and that your journey is leading you to where it is meant to lead you. And maybe that is coming into physical connection with your counterpart. And maybe it is energetic connection. But you know that you're trusting your path, you're following your peace, and you're following your joy. You are meant to live in joy and peace and love, not pain and suffering and struggle. Don't keep yourself stuck in that pain and that suffering and that struggle. Allow yourself to open up to love. And allow yourself to be open up to whatever that looks like. Trusting your intuition, trusting your intuition as far as what that looks like. Like I said, the experience that I'm having with somebody, it's not leading anywhere. At least I don't think. But there is a lot of love. Well, I don't want to say love, but there's a lot of growth that's experienced. There's a lot of appreciation and gratitude that's being experienced. Allow yourself to open up to potential. A year ago, I never would have thought that I could experience that. And even now, I still feel like my person is my person. But again, there's no physical connection, there's no physical relationship. And you can't put yourself in a waiting room. You can't hold yourself back in life. Okay, I know that's going to trigger some people, and not meaning to, but I encourage you guys to watch the Amanda Ellis video that really puts that into perspective in a way that maybe I can't articulate. If that's not part of your path and that's not part of your experience, then just disregard it. That's all right. It's going to resonate with some. It might not resonate with all. This has been how my own path is unfolding in very surprising ways, but it's teaching me a lot about myself, and it's teaching me a lot about connections, and especially what I want in connection. That's what it's teaching me most importantly, what I want in connection going forward, and what I want in relationship going forward, and what I require in relationship going forward, especially as somebody who had abandoned herself and abandoned her needs and sacrificed herself in every relationship of her life. It's really showing me a lot about myself, and I'm learning through this person how to apply what I've learned about myself and what I've learned about relationships, how to apply that. It's been eye-opening. Okay, Four of Cups. Yeah. It's the same energy as the Five of Cups. It's like you're looking so much at the past that you're not seeing the opportunity that was here. You or somebody else were looking so much at the past. You or somebody else were looking so much at the past that you weren't able to see what was right there. And I do feel like there is a new opportunity that's coming back around again. Are you ready for it? Or are you still looking at the past? Are you still looking at the empty cup? Or are you seeing these two cups overflowing? Interesting. It almost feels, I almost hate to say this because I don't really, this is my ego. Like, it's almost like, I hate to say this because I don't want to attach to anything, but it almost feels like this is like soulmate connection, and this is like the energetic component of the twin flame. And it could be for some that as you're experiencing soulmate connections and learning from soulmate connections, the counterpart is doing the same in various different ways and learning about themselves and on their journey in order to come back into union, physical union with you. For others, this could be that you are experiencing connection and energetically there's space being held by the counterpart. It's going to resonate with everybody in a number of different ways. Again, I don't mean to trigger, but just take it as it resonates for you guys. And I do require respect. You know, I do always encourage you guys to share your experiences, share your own wisdom, share your own understanding and insights, but I do require respect. Absolutely require respect. This is after all still my platform, so and my own experience and my own journey. So, you know, feel free to have comments and share how it's resonating with you. If it's not resonating with you, that's fine as well. But I do require respect in communication. Okay, tell me about Ready for Love. Tell me about Ready for Love. The High Priestess. This is because you are embodying a higher level of yourself. And that is why this energy is coming in. This commitment is coming in. And it feels like that's because with you embodying the higher energy of love, it's like you intuitively know that this is your inner union. You know that you're experiencing this higher frequency of yourself and this inner union. And so you are recognizing that as you experience inner union, it naturally reflects in your outside world into an outer union, into an outer relationship with somebody. And so that's that commitment. You're drawing this in. You're manifesting this. And in some ways, the magician is the counterpart to the high priestess. At least in this energy, it's the counterpart to the high priestess because this is the magician, a powerful manifester as well. The high priestess is somebody who is very intuitive. It's the feminine energy, very intuitive, very much a creative energy. She is the understanding of the cosmos, creating from the higher perspective, creating within the cosmos, and the magician manifests that, brings it down into the physical form, because the magician here has the tools in which to do so. The magician has that sword of truth. The magician has that cup of love. The magician has that pentacle. The magician has that wand with which to create. As above, so below. So the feminine energy, being in the higher realms, creates. And the magician, as above, the magician brings that down, so below. And that's where this union is created. This Four of Wands is created. So are you ready for love? Like, yes, absolutely. And both working on this, because you've been working on yourself, because you've been focused on your path and focused on your self-growth, you have been creating this, you have been building this. This is foundation that you've been building within yourself, individually, that inner union. And because of that, now you're able to come into partnership with somebody and collaborate, create, and work together. And what is that creating? The Sun, happiness, joy, wish fulfillment. The Sun being the happiest card in the deck. And the Sun being a major arcana card as well. You're walking away from the old version of yourself, the old templates, the old paradigms, the old frequency, and you're walking towards that 9-10 of cups. You're walking towards a new version of yourself. You're walking towards a new understanding of connection and relationship and love, because you've learned that within yourself. You've shifted your perspectives. You've allowed yourself to release any burdens. You've come into balance with yourself. You have healed the heartbreak. You've learned how to have balance and connection. And so now it is time to receive. Now it's time to receive in the balance of true partnership. The scales being balanced. Ready for love? Because you've balanced within yourself. And what you have at the end of the deck to end the reading is just fiery passion. You have chemistry, you have desire, you have commitment. And what I like about this is action, but especially the Wands energy being higher level of awakening, higher level of ascension, higher level of consciousness, higher level of awareness for what it is that you are creating. This is the Wands energy. As above, so below, anchoring it into the earth. All right. Well, that was an unexpected reading. I think that is going to be the Soul Path reading, and I'm going to make it available to the public. I've been sharing the Sacred Union and Ascension relationship energy updates in pieces here on the YouTube channel. They've moved over to the Patreon because the journey is becoming more sacred. And like I said in the beginning, it's not resonating for all. And everybody's path is going to be a little bit different. However, I'm going to have this sensitive subject public. But I do require respect for myself, for the channeling, and especially for others. And I will not hesitate to uphold boundaries when it comes to that. Most of you are amazing and great. This is not meant for you as a message for you. This is for those who are new to the channel. This is for those who are maybe not on this journey, who might be critical of the journey. It's just not meant for you then. And just allow yourself to disregard it if it's not meant for you, if it's not resonating for you. That being said, it is a somewhat sensitive subject because it's a different layer of our journey. We're going to be back with more Sacred Union energy updates and Ascension relationship energy updates on the Patreon. And again, for those of you not subscribed to the Patreon, we go in depth over there, but not subscribed to the Patreon, you will have some channelings here as well. And we will go higher into depth. This was a real foundational reading here, channeling here. We're going to go deeper into depth on Susan Dawn Ascension connections with regards to twin flame sacred partners, masculine and feminine energy, and the ascension journey on Susan Dawn Ascension connections coming up now. I feel like we needed to get this reading done first because, again, this is the foundation. It's almost like everything's coming out as a series. Everything is interconnected. Everything is related now. So we'll be channeling Into the Garden, a lot about transcending duality and understanding masculine and feminine energy. We'll be channeling with Kuan Yin about compassion. We'll be channeling Kali Ma with regards to the wild feminine energy. We'll be channeling Return to Avalon as well, because a lot's been coming in, especially with this energy, a lot's been coming in with regards to King Arthur, Merlin, and all that Camelot and Avalon energy. So all of that is to come. I am trying to organize it and articulate it as best as I can. Do make sure that you stay tuned. I'm sending lots and lots of love and lots of healing, peace, and joy for your journeys.